This YCN segment is brought to you by Bubba's Bar and Grill on Lake Sunapee in Newberry Harbor.
Welcome back, YCN Sports Talk. Jeremy Stout, Brett Franklin in studio, and we move over to the Boston Celtics. Can you believe it, Brett? The preseason is almost here. Friday night, they play at Charlotte down at, what was it, UNC you were saying?
Yeah, the Dean Dome.
Well, they'll open up and then back home on Sunday. Basketball's here. Your level of excitement, hopefully Hayward and Irving, and this team is looking good.
This is what it's all been built for right here, right? Building up for this season. I said it earlier this week on the radio. It's NBA Finals or bust for this team. No LeBron in the Eastern Conference. I mean, really, who's going to challenge you in the East? I think the Celtics have a great chance of getting to 65 wins this season, maybe even challenging for 70. I know that's a crazy talk right there, but I mean, honestly, what team are they going to that's going to give them a real challenge? I don't think there's been this much excitement for a season, maybe since the 2008 season with Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce. This is going to be an exciting team, and there's going to be a lot of high expectations. Biggest challenge, as we talked about on my show on Tuesday, is how does Brad Stevens keep everybody healthy? Now that he's got guys back, rookies who developed, were forced to develop quickly last year due to injury. Now, where is their development here now that you're getting some guys back? So there's going to be some big questions as far as playing time goes, but it's a good problem to have.
Well, it's a great problem to have, and we talked about that. You talked about the wins, and other than a couple teams that might challenge them, the East isn't that great of a conference.
Nobody in the East is going to challenge.
So there shouldn't really be a problem with winning 60 games. And you're right, maybe approaching 70. Look what they did last year without Hayward and Irving for a good chunk of the season. So with that being said, they are pretty big favorites in the East. Should they be? Do they deserve to be? Because you do have Philly coming off a team, a season that they played well, and then Kawhi Leonard coming over to Toronto. But you're not buying either of those teams. It's Celtics.
Yep.
Heavy favorites.
Heavy favorites. Kawhi doesn't want to be in Toronto. I think Philly's still on a growth curve. I mean, would it surprise you if they miss the playoffs next year? I mean, I don't think it really would. I just, not to sound like an arrogant Boston sportsman, but there's really no team in the East that scares me, that I would even stay up late at night if I'm Brad Stevens trying to figure it out. It all comes down to winning the NBA Finals and possibly meeting up with the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, that would be a heck of a matchup. Obviously, that's the matchup that Celtics fans would love to see. They've had some success against the Warriors. I know it's regular season versus playoffs, but they have had some success, so maybe they have their number and they have a game plan. Talking about this team, Kyrie Irving, we talked about it last week on the show here with Andrew Zerhide. There was talk that if the Celtics couldn't re-sign him, maybe they trade him away to the Knicks because at least they could get something for him. But now it looks like he might be all in on the Celtics team going forward. He said, hey, if the Celtics want me back, I may come back.
I don't think we're ever going to get a real answer from Kyrie Irving as far as what he wants to do. I think for him, this season will dictate a lot. I mean, let's say the Celtics go and they win the NBA championship. Then I could see Kyrie bolting, going to another team. I've already got my ring without LeBron. That could be a big possibility. But if, say, they come up short this year, how much fun does he have playing with these young guys for a full season? That's going to be the biggest thing. I'm not worried about Kyrie. I think there was a lot of question marks coming into last year. Question marks about why would a guy want to leave Cleveland and LeBron James? Well, I guess he was kind of right. It was kind of a dumpster fire last year for Cleveland. I'm not worried about Kyrie. I think he's going to have a really good season. He was on pace to have a fantastic season last year before he got hurt. Now that he's healthy, from what we all know, he is healthy. Him and Hayward should be a lot of fun to watch.
And you mentioned so many players, who gets the starts, who gets the minutes. Do Tatum and Brown both get to start? I mean, now that we've seen what Tatum can do in his rookie year, Brown his second year, are they both starters or do they keep one of them on the bench?
I think one of them's on the bench. But boy, it'd be a nice six-man to have, whether it's Brown or whether it's Tatum.
Right.
I think Tatum's probably on the odd man out. But then again, Brad Stevens on Tuesday on Media Day saying, we're kind of in a positionless basketball type of scenario. We don't have a 1, we don't have a 2. I think it's going to roll the ball out there. Who's the best guy at that time? And we've seen him fluctuate lineup changes heavily last year. I think it's going to take a while to kind of figure things out. But I think right now, if I had to make my guess, I think Tatum's on the outside looking in, but he's the first guy off the bench.
It'll be interesting to see what happens in the preseason and how things develop. And Brad Stevens is no stranger, like you said, to making different lineups and making lineup changes, bringing different guys off the bench, different guys starting. So it's definitely going to be an exciting season, and we'll have full breakdown of NBA and the previews in the coming weeks. We'll take our final break. When we come back, we'll talk Patriots in the next week, and then we'll make our Salt Hill Pub picks of the week. You're watching YCN Sports Talk.